And I'm red, white, and blue over here. Okay, so all those Canadian products, they got poured out weeks ago. I deleted I deleted Shorzy from Plex. Deleted any Canadian products really. I don't want to talk about Dana Carvey. Any of that. No.
You like the red, white, and blue. The red and the white.
Did you
alone?
See that wants to rename Greenland?
Red, white, and blue land.
Red, white, and blue land.
I hate that.
I hate that with a fiery passion.
Yeah, I would prefer something like Patriotville over red, white, and blue land.
He should have named it after an American hero or something.
You can't have multiple fucking commas in the name. I don't like that.
Maybe a Confederate hero just to piss off the libs.
I've seen people who are like, we should rename every airbase and fort after a Confederate hero, not because we like Confederates, but because we love upsetting the left. We should make that happen.
They're doing it here in North Carolina. So Fort Bragg, apparently, I don't know, General Bragg, whoever Bragg was he was a traitor. He fought for the Confederate Army, and a bad one, apparently. So they renamed Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty. Well, Trump's in charge now, so he's renaming Fort Liberty to Fort Bragg, but with a wink and a nod, he's like, it's a different Bragg. It's some World War II veteran with a Purple Heart or something like that.
To be fair.
So what did that Bragg do?
I don't know. I don't think he's quite as famous as the real Fort Bragg. I think there's just a wink and a nod that we're naming it Fort Bragg again.
So now it's like, it's Fort Stephen Bragg, who stormed Omaha Beach or something.
I've never heard the first name mentioned in Fort Bragg before. It's just Fort Bragg.
I mean, the real the real Bragg, he was a Confederate general, but he also fought as an American officer in the Mexican and the Seminole Wars. So, you could make him you'd name him after those contributions, not necessarily his traitorous ways that only came on later in life under the influence of alcohol.
Is that what was he under the influence of alcohol?
He fell to the drink. He fell to the drink as many a great man has.
Well, it was olden days. They were all doing it. It was a medicine back then. You needed it so that when you were getting
there were people who were known
doctors.
But but still a drunk's a drunk. I think everybody maybe was having a sip during the day to make sure their water wasn't poisoned, but then they were drunks, right? Yeah. I don't care what they name things. I genuinely don't give a shit. I like I like the Doge stuff. I like that he's finding things to save money on. And I hope that it sets an example for future administrations so that, especially as the U.S. aid stuff, I know that we need some foreign aid. Like, I love the idea of funding foreign police forces for their anti-drug task forces. I like the idea of stopping the fentanyl in Thailand or something, and before it gets to Mexico or wherever wherever it ends up, if we could spend a fraction of the money over there so that we don't have to deal with the problem over here, then that makes tons of sense. And that's what I expect my government to do through research, being smart, and foresight. I need you to get that kind of thing done. But again, all of the cultural nonsense, all of the spreading DEI awareness or any sort of acceptance, or I don't care what you call it, to another country is outrageous to me. So I love them catching that and stopping that. But
like funding the journalists, I don't like that. Like
the political stuff, they keep trying to they're like, no, it wasn't a payoff. It was just subscriptions. And it's like, yeah, but I don't think the government should be paying anyone subscriptions to anything. I really don't.
It's clearly a payoff. It's like, no, they're not paying Reuters. They're paying Reuters' parent company. And it was $2 million to New York Times subscriptions. It was something like that, and I don't know. Yeah.
Just cut that little bit of fat. I don't like Trump spending $20 million to go to the Super Bowl either. And to me, it's like, fucking saving pennies over here and burning dollars over there. But I hope the effect is that there's more oversight and this stuff gets caught. I don't know. I hope that in the future we don't continue to waste our money like this.
But our
the little
money.
Things that he's done, dude, I like the Gulf of America thing. I think it's funny. I think that some people don't think it's funny and they're upset about it because it's a silly thing to fucking care about. I like the penny being eliminated. They said it for years that it didn't make sense to make pennies, and this guy's like, "Hey, stop it! Cut it out with the pennies." And they're like, "Okay, so no more pennies." I like that. I hope the nickel's next. I like that. I like that he's changing things and things happen, and I love that he does his press conferences where they get to question him daily. about everything and anything. That Gaza shit is just made up, though. That's smoke and farts in the air, so that you look over there and you don't see that he, like, I don't know, ruined Medicare or whatever they're going to do. They're going to do
about
something.
The guy, like, about him taking it over.
They're not going to take over Gaza. That's nonsense. Yeah, that's never happening. That's him throwing it. I'm
like,
sure
everybody thinks they have a reliable Trump decoder ring and they know which ones are bullshit and which ones are not. And then, like, they get it wrong.
I would not be surprised. So let me use my decoder ring now, since we're still early. Canada will not be a state. Panama will make concessions, or there will be an international incident, and we may indeed they will either agree to sell or buy back any interest that China has in that area, or the U.S. might actually take something over down there. Nothing's going to happen with Greenland, and we are definitely not going to do anything with Gaza. It's him floating an idea that I'm sure he would go down that road to us building the Riviera of the Middle East in Gaza if the other players would allow it. But they're not. The entire Arab world is against it. They don't want to take 2 million Gazans. No one wants them. Maybe I heard it was either the King of Jordan or the King of Bahrain or Bahrain or whoever was in the White House the other day, and he was like, "I've agreed to take 2,000 Gazan sick children." And I'm like, "That's a lot of qualifiers, bro. Like, you had to, like, you're barely thinking of anybody." Okay, so you're taking 1,000th of the Gazan population. Who's going to deal with the other 9?
Well, yes, for like one day, and then I put them on planes to Germany. That is what I will do.
Moving 2 million people is unfeasible. There's nowhere to move them to. And then the idea of rebuilding that place into the Riviera of the Middle East is absurd. It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
It'd be different if we had a precedent of giving Israel whatever they wanted and any amount of money for decades on end. But because
or
that's
if we
not
thought
the
we
reality,
could just go into a Middle Eastern country and rebuild it as a shining light of democracy that other Middle Eastern countries would follow. If we thought we could pull that off, and we have a history of trying that bullshit, then maybe I'd know that this wasn't real.
We know we can't
like
now.
if we've spent trillions of dollars in unbelievably recent history, then maybe we'd know. Like, I would not put it past Trump to overinvest in Gaza, because it seems like, Bibi has an enormous amount of influence with a lot of elected officials and a lot of these donors that support Trump.
The most destructive thing that I can actually see him doing is he might ruin Canada's economy if they keep talking shit. If Canada wants to bet that Trump will see
can you
the error of his
bring
ways.
Me up to speed on them talking shit? I don't think I heard what you heard.
Oh, I don't know. Just like Trudeau's constantly going at Trump and, just Canadians in general.
Canadians in general, they're mad at us.
Yeah, isn't Trudeau like 1 foot out the door anyway?
I see a lot of their politicians talking shit, and there's a big effort to buy Canadian. Y'all need to just like Google, like, what the GDPs and the trade situation, and see how much we import from Canada and how much Canada imports from us. He will ruin the Canadian economy if he wants to. He would genuinely, like, I don't know, cause a depression for the Canadians if he wants to.
We can ruin almost any country's economy. Like, we're the big dick economically in the world. We're 30% of the global consumer market. We can lean on any country on earth and get them to do what they want to an extent.
So the steel and aluminum tariffs, did they already go into action? The 25% tariff?
I don't know if they went into action. I thought he signed them like yesterday or the day before. There's some situation with U.S. Steel, Nippon Steel, the Japanese company, wanted to purchase it, and then Trump has interjected himself in the middle, and he doesn't want them to buy it outright. He wants them to buy interest in it or stock in it or something like that. And I think he worked out some sort of deal to make that happen. And then he said today that U.S. Steel was in a better bargaining position because of his steel tariffs, which, I mean, you would imagine so. So I don't know.
Yeah,
and aluminum and steel is a really big deal. You think cars immediately, but it's like every appliance, every tool. Like, aluminum and steel is in so much of what we use. To just jack the price up of that by 25% is a lot.
Better get to work making our own steel, I guess. Maybe it'll make that.
Well, they'll raise their prices too, right? Like, that's how tariffs work. If your competitor suddenly goes 25% more, then you raise your prices 25% also. Sure,
I guess the hope would be, and I'm just guessing here, like now we're able to fire up our steel plants and make some steel, and then when the tariffs come back down, it actually is cheaper to get the American steel than to import the steel. But no, that's not true. That's the problem to begin with, that for some reason it's cheaper to ship steel from Japan than it is to,
because we can't
us to make our own
with how much they're spending. Like
I think our facilities are out of date. That's what the portion of the internet I read said, that, you know, we've got these freaking steel manufacturing processes from World War II and we left it there while they're automated and efficient overseas.
Like we just learned with COVID and a lot of stuff, how important it is to have domestic manufacturing in a lot of different areas. And hopefully we can bring some back, because those jobs tend to be more stable and actually like making possible a high quality life, as opposed to the huge. Oh, did you see Politico? They released some article where it was like, the economic data was wrong. It turns out the average consumer was more correct in their assessment than the data being presented. And they showed like the unemployment numbers were wrong, and that the way they achieved that 4.2 whatever percent was that they were excluding people who had not actively been looking for work for 3 months. And they were also counting even homeless people who had like worked at least once in the previous month or some metric like that as employed. So like if you lost your gainful employment job and then you do DoorDash 3 times over the course of a month, they counted that as employed. And so it was funny to see like that affirmation of like, yeah, you guys are just getting to this, Politico? Are you serious? Like everyone, like all the boots on the ground people have been saying this for literally years. And so a little mea culpa from them was enjoyable to see. But